All right, I think it's probably starting. All right, go for it, Weston.
Welcome, everybody, to MS Office Hours. It is Thursday, May 25th. Let me introduce you to our hosts.
We are a lean crew today. Two out of five are here. Hi, everyone. I am Heather Cox, and not only presenting, but co-hosting today is...
I'm Andrea Singrio.
All right, Andrea, Melissa, take it over. I'm excited to see what you've got here.
All right, Andrea, tell us what's going on here.
So I'm just curious how many people actually read our description for today's session. Quick hand raise. Okay, a couple of you.
Okay.
So I used ChatGPT to write our session, and I wanted it to be a session descriptor to be fun and engaging. And it said that we had a talking toaster, a dancing, a singing vacuum, and a dancing robot. And so I felt the need to make sure that we included those because I didn't want to let anybody down. So these are our friends from our description, but we can jump into our actual presentation now.
All right, we're going to talk about AI again, because I know if you attended anything in Build, I think it was mentioned about 5,000 different times, maybe more than that. I am sure AI was mentioned so many times in the past 2 days. It was a lot, y'all, but we're going to talk about it in a different sort of light. Andrea and I have been having a lot of conversations with students and faculty and administrators across the US, and we wanted to come back and share some of those findings with you all. But I don't know if anybody saw, I want to start out with this quote, and I apologize for the language on the screen and if you can read it. But I want to start out with this quote because if you saw the keynote during day one, Kevin Scott said this, showed this, and it was, I see a lot of inspirational things, I feel like, but this was really motivating for me. I don't know what it did to me, but it really kind of gave me a different perspective on, there is something that I can do today, we can do today, that people will look back at and in awe. And I just thought that was a really inspiring piece for me specifically, that, what, I think we've got the tool, like the right tools in our tool belt to do good. As Andrea and Heather said, I was focused on the CIO Times, but a lot of what I do and am passionate about is changing the world for good. I know that sounds super hokey, but I think we have an opportunity with these new capabilities, these new tools to do some good, because if this is anything like what we've seen in the past with poor old Clippy, he was a bit annoying, and I think it was the start of doing good. It was this idea that we had somebody who was just kind of nudging us in a light sort of way, saying, well, maybe this isn't the right decision with Comic Sans, right? Should I stop that? So I think that there's some opportunities, again, with the tools in our tool belt that we all can use to do good. Again, super hokey. And it's really kind of switching us from, again, the word co-pilot, to this idea that we have something next to us, something supporting us in our work, in our everyday, in different sort of ways. And so I'm going to turn it over to Andrea to share a story and be very, very authentic and open here.
Yeah. So I am neurodiverse. I learned that term since joining Microsoft, but I was diagnosed with ADHD in the 80s as a female, which is extremely rare. And I was, as you can see, kind of my bullets here. I was an extremely independent child. I went to a Montessori school. Thank God my parents knew to put me in a school that would let me kind of pick my own directions. But loved exploring and loved to talk and got to know my classmates really well. I think you all know I enjoy talking here as well, but I never took an opportunity to go to the reading area. I never wanted to write. And to this day, I still struggle with reading comprehension and written expression. And it is an extreme challenge anytime that I'm asked to give feedback in a written form, or to write a form or email, or to even just share information in a written text, because it just causes such a physical reaction if I'm unsure, somebody can't look at it beforehand or review it. And so Melissa asked me to provide her feedback. And at Microsoft, they encourage us to ask each other for feedback. And Melissa sent this to me on April 10th. And normally it would take me, I don't know, when was it due? May 9th. It would take me until May 8th at midnight to sit down and probably start working on it. But leveraging ChatGPT to write that feedback, I have the feedback. I know the feedback. I know what I want to say, but I struggle to put it into sentences and be able to give it back. I was able to sit down. It was the first time I had used ChatGPT, and I said, let me just see what this is about. Let's see if it can help me. And if you notice, I was able to provide that feedback the next day. And that was like a huge aha moment. I think I reached out to Melissa, also knows that I used ChatGPT to write her feedback. This is not news to her, but also to Heather, and said, like, we need to do a session on how powerful these tools can be, and what that did for me. Like, it was a massive, like, lift for me. I could finally, I don't know, move past it and utilize it. And so I have been utilizing it. Now, when I put stuff in, I don't put names, I use pronouns, and I just kind of list out what I need. And if I don't like it, or I take parts of it and I re-put it together, and then I have it check it again. Also, for my poor husband, who has probably read over my shoulder, I don't know, every email I've sent that has some official capacity. And this tool made that possible for me to reduce that anxiety and feel confident like I do when I speak. I have very few issues in confidence and anxiety when I have to speak in front of people, but if I have to write something, it's awful. And so the fact that this tool could change that for me, and I could have a positive reaction and not have that stress and anxiety for nearly a month to put something together. And it's not because I didn't want to give Melissa the feedback, but because I just struggled to even put anything on paper or type it out on the computer, really changed the way I started to think about these tools. So I think that I just really wanted to share this story. So, and again, here's our cover girl, Melissa, to really, I think there are more stories like mine out there.
Yeah. I look like this about once a year. So good thing I got a picture taken. So I also wanted to share some of the conversations that we've been having, and then some of the transition into realistic examples, leveraging some of the tools, again, tools within the tool belt to do some good on campus. And so we talked with a student that was using ChatGPT as a validator, real just-in-time validator for her thoughts before she spoke up in class. She's a minority in a predominantly male major, and so she was having trouble speaking up in class. And so it's not that she was going to that for the answer. She was going to that for that validation that she knew the answer. And that was a really powerful moment for me, that students are using these tools for good as well. And they're reimagining their tools in their tool belt so that they can building a soft skill like confidence out of something that maybe wasn't necessarily built for that, was a really, really powerful thing for me. we had a conversation with a faculty member that was adding ChatGPT as a team member for team-based assignments, again, to kind of test out this knowledge and support conversations, and just kind of see how again, it could be reimagined for team-based assignments for students who are brilliant, but might need that kind of extra challenge or next step, or push to get to the next step. And then transitioning to meeting others on campus. We were working with a campus where people were very much siloed. Who would have guessed what campus is siloed? And people were, just remote and in their own offices, in their own spaces, and they rarely have that interaction. And so there was an interface that we developed within their Azure instance where they could meet other researchers or colleagues or anybody on campus that had similar interests to theirs. And it was a really great way to bring people together in a safe space where they don't have that opportunity potentially to do that, or might not have the confidence to go out and do that on their own. And then the last example is we worked with an institution to build out kind of this internal chat where employees could talk to the chatbot about their benefits, get explanations on health insurance coverage, all of the different pieces from the documentation that they had. Just an easy interface, but it really changed employee satisfaction, where they were able to get answers that they may have needed, but may have been nervous about asking an individual. So again, just really interesting things happening that I think I didn't think that it would permeate this far, these ideas, but it really has. And so again, it made Andrea and I think, how can we come together to talk about these things and some other things that are happening, and tools and resources, and there's just a lot happening in this space around AI, but how do we focus it in on technology? And sharing this quote because, I think accessible technology can actually truly level that playing field for people with disabilities. And I think, Microsoft is very uniquely positioned with all of the different platform pieces to accelerate powerful opportunities to kind of bridge that disability divide. So I think it's a really exciting time, and some really exciting tools that I want to share with you today. If you attended the Ability Summit back in March, this was talked about, and I don't know why we're not talking about it more, because, oh my goodness gracious, this is one of the coolest things that I saw, and I have just been waiting and checking my M365 every day to see if I have it, which I don't yet, and I want it so bad. This is an accessibility assistant. So we all know the kind of accessibility checker tools that we have in a lot of our Microsoft 365, where you can bring up the pane afterwards and check it. But I think there's a really interesting sort of dynamic. As you're typing, there's the spell check that automatically shows up to let you know that you can go back and update it then versus at the end. And even more, how can we help these situations not even occur? How can we prevent them before we even get there? And so Accessibility Assistant has so many amazing features. Here are just three that I thought were just absolutely phenomenal. A high contrast only toggle where you can pick and narrow down to the WCAG high contrast per the high contrast requirements. This is a phenomenal opportunity to know exactly on the front end, and then again, that proactive piece. And then real-time in context remediation that would show up. So right next to when you're working exactly like a spell checker, but for accessibility, contextual flagging for different sorts of pieces. There's so many pieces to this that I want to show a video, and it's about 3 minutes long, but I think that this is really important. So we're gonna watch this together. Y'all, game changer. I love it. So, thank you, Dwayne, for putting that link in there. It is right now rolling out, as we know, and was stated previously. Education, we'll get it some point, but keep an eye out for it. It's just, I think, again, a phenomenal tool that is just going to revolutionize the way that we think about accessibility and not bolting it on, but building it in as we go, or even proactively. So amazing. So really cool innovations happening there. Teams, obviously, there's so much happening here. Andrea, I want to just ask you really quickly, does anything stand out to you on here that you've used that's really kind of awesome for you?
For me, the noise suppression has been phenomenal. I definitely use that a ton. And I use the captioning every day. So I have live captioning on every day, all the time. It's extremely helpful for me to focus, right? You heard me mention the ADHD, and hearing and seeing the words at the same time does help me retain information much better, but it also helps for someone who has an accent that I can't make out. The AI behind that captioning, when I've worked with our colleagues that are in India, they have a very different accent that I can't always understand, but I can at least read along and know what they're saying. So I don't feel like I'm constantly having to say, can you repeat that? Can you say that again? Because I feel like it just messes up their flow and they're trying to get information to me. So those are probably the two biggest. But I also have to say I love a PowerPoint Live.
Love it. All those things, yes. And I want to add one more that is more recent. And I had a really good demo of it because I'm on a Surface Pro X. I was going to show you, but my camera's not working today. I apologize. Of course, right? Why would it work when I need it most? And so the eye contact is so cool. It's really nice for a person like me. I have a really hard time looking into people's eyes because and like intently looking in their eyes all the time because it's very intimate and serious for me. But I need to do that more often. And so I've been using eye contact, not so that I can look away or I can do something else, but so that I'm engaged with the person that I'm talking to. It's really, really interesting. All of the different where it is and all the different pieces that have it now. It's available in almost every single tool, video conferencing tool. So just really cool things. Again, if we think about it in different ways, what this can do, not so that I can look over here and do work, but so that I can build my confidence and understand how to work with people and have that eye contact. So yeah, it's kind of it is very, very, very interesting. So definitely play around with it if you do have that Surface Pro to be able to do that. But yeah, it's kind of cool. So I wanted to end with these different options. And I was afforded a great opportunity to go see the Microsoft Inclusive Tech Lab in our Redmond office. And one of the things that I wanted to share about this is they do virtual tours for students in the virtual tech or in the Inclusive Tech Lab. So you can reach out to them and get a virtual tour of what these spaces might look like, these inclusive spaces might look like. They're really, really amazing. If you do have the opportunity to go to Redmond, I would definitely recommend going there. But if not, reach out to them and get a virtual tour of the space. Amazing things that they're doing, physical, software-wise, just amazing. And then also I wanted to share, there is an AI for accessibility kind of side of Microsoft where we do fund some profits, nonprofit startups, all of those different things that are working in this area. And so I wanted to share two examples. Both actually came out of Microsoft research, but are doing really interesting things. So this is our Seeing AI app, if you've heard about it, but we're going to watch this quick video. So I show that because I want to kind of jog your imagination, your own imagination, back to that quote from Kevin Scott. What can you do so that we can be in awe of your work? I think that the Seeing AI app is just phenomenal in what it's doing. Like he described, narrating the visual world around you, documents, signs, scenes, currency, friends, all of those things. It's really, really interesting. And another one that has come out of Microsoft research is called People Lens, and we'll just watch this real fast. So both of these examples leverage our AI cognitive services built off of the tools that you have in your tool belt. So I want to look towards the future with you all with just a few minutes left. What does it hold for you? And, we know that there's a lot happening with GPT-4 and the preview in Azure OpenAI services. But some of the things that it can do, and I wanted to start out with visual extraction and reasoning. Kind of amazing that it can explain a meme, take a picture, explain it, and reason about it. And another example would be taking a picture of your refrigerator and what are a couple meals that I can make with what's there, again, from a picture. And so I want to take a second, like 10 seconds of silence for you all just to kind of think about, where does this fit? These are tertiary examples in the real world. I can take a meme and have visual extraction and reasoning from it, or a picture, but what does this look like in education? So I'm going to take just a few seconds so you can think about it. One last example to get you excited about the future is web page design from a visual. Literally writing on a napkin or a piece of paper, having it write the HTML code and putting together the website. The possibilities with these very powerful tools that we have in our tool belt now can be incredibly impactful for us in education, but also for our students, for our faculty, for our staff, for our administrators, for accessibility, for evening out that digital divide. Imagine what this can do. So I want to leave you with that, with 1 minute left. Andrea, any last thoughts, close out, all the things?
This is why I love working with you, Melissa. You take something that I call you about, hey, I just did your feedback with ChatGPT, and you just opened my eyes to so much more. And you really help me understand all the possibilities. Because again, we all live in our own little bubble sometimes, and we just keep hearing AI, AI, AI. And I'm now reminded of all the things that it can do and how much it can help us.
We do have a hand raised. Do we want to just try to quickly do a question before we call it?
Sure. Anna?
Maybe it was an accidental hand raise.
It might have been when we asked who read our
Sorry.
description for this week.
Oh, and there's somebody said hi to you in the chat, Dakota. Can you wave to everybody? Can you tell everybody have an amazing Thursday? Say thank you so much for joining us. We will be back for one final week before we take a little summer hiatus because, you know, my children, I don't know where everybody else is, but my children, today was their last day of school. And so I will now have children. Now, this one, she's not done. I'm going to keep sending her because I'll never get anything done if this one's here. Because, yeah, clear. Yeah, see, she knows. Yeah, she's just letting me know. Okay, so yes, thank you so much, everybody, for being here. And we can't wait to see you next week. Rob's going to give us a little bit of some stream, and then we will wrap up with a couple of fun things. And yeah, we'll talk to everybody later. Hopefully everybody has a great Memorial Day. And yeah, that's all I got. My brain stopped working because she's on my lap here. So bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank y'all.